Doctor Strange is by no means a perfect movie. Like most of the movies that preceded it in the MCU, it also fell victim to certain generic superhero movie tropes. As I've stated in a previous video that I made for this channel about Captain America Civil War, Marvel has developed a formula for their movies, and they tend to stick to it pretty rigidly. This is largely because it works really well. They produce really good, consistent movies. So to that extent, Doctor Strange is no exception. And yet, I thought it was the most interesting and refreshing movie they've made yet. Up until the release of Doctor Strange, Marvel has seemed to hold an unwavering policy against the use of blatant magic in their universe. Thor is only God in the sense that he is powerful and otherworldly. They even take the time to explain that on Asgard, science and magic are one and the same. The Maximoff twins aren't so much mutants as they are the result of some bizarre genetic experiment. And even the Mandarin from the Iron Man series isn't magical, he's much more scientific. Doctor Strange served as a stalwart rebuke to this precedent, and introduced indisputably that magic exists in this universe and that magic is magic. Dr. Stephen Strange began his story as a deeply unlikable character. He was an arrogant man who was perfectly content to see himself as a slightly larger speck, who was at least creating somewhat of an impact in this indifferent universe. Through a humbling journey into the realm of the spiritual, he learns that there is more to reality than just what he can see and understand. He had to be broken down to his lowest point for him to let go and finally surrender. His body is broken, his mind is driven to desperation, and his hope dissolves as we watch him experience this painful crucible. But eventually he emerges on the other side as a changed man with a strengthened spirit. And that is ultimately why I found this film so refreshing. This film rejects and challenges the only thing we've seen in the Marvel Universe so far, which is just materialism. And now Doctor Strange serves as a counter to the cynicism, the technology, and the materialism of Tony Stark. And at least in my opinion, that means that there's a possibility of some really significant depth that can be added to the MCU. As I was walking out of the theater after I saw this movie, a quote popped into my head. It's from a radio broadcast given by Winston Churchill to the American public during the Second World War. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, "The destinies of mankind cannot be measured by material computation. When great causes are on the move in the world, we will learn that we are spirits, not animals, and that something is going on in space and time and beyond space and time, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty." You know, I think the fact that a great quote from a brilliant man can resonate with a superhero movie about magic speaks both to the quality of the quote and the quality of the movie. And that Churchill quote is the prism that I used to analyze this movie through. So I hope that if nothing else, I've given you something at least a little bit interesting to think about. As always, I'm interested to hear what you have to say in the comments, so thanks for watching. Bye, guys.